Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah, good afternoon. So, in this session, we are going to see criteria 2 of NAC. So, here in this criteria, we have 7 key aspects. So, those are listed in the screen. So, first one, student enrollment and profile. So, as far as this is concerned, so these are all called key aspects. Then, in if you are having something 2.1.1, that is called as metrics, right? So in 2.1, we have there are two types of metrics: qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics. In the quantitative metrics, so you have to provide the data. For example, some specific informations are asked, then you have to provide. Then based on that, this quantitative metrics we have to provide. So that will be validated through DVV process. So that type of things we have to give in student enrollment ratio. Then catering to student diversity, this is also similar. Different states of students, various categories of students, all those things we have to provide. Then in this teaching learning process, so that is having 50 marks. So here those details, whatever the things required, so that has to be given. Then teacher profile and quality, sorry. So these things should be given based on the teacher's qualification, experience, and how long they are in this particular institution, all those things. Then evaluation process and reforms. So as far as this evaluation process and reforms, you have, since it is affiliated institution, so you should not have any modification in this evaluation and reforms, because whatever the direction given by the university, so that has to be followed, so that it is given 30 marks. And the next key aspect is student performance and learning outcomes. So this is having 60 marks. So today's focus is about this key aspect: student performance and learning outcomes. Then last one, student satisfaction survey. So this we have to provide some questionnaires, and then they themselves make a survey, and they will do all these things, right? So these are all the things in key criteria 2. So here, so our focus in today's session is student performance and learning outcomes. So as far as students' performance and the learning outcomes are concerned, so we have to get familiar with these two terms, as a few terms related with OBE. So first one, vision. Vision is nothing but the statement which is having a long-term plan of the institution. So that may be there for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. Then after that, you can change the vision also after reaching the goals or targets set by the institution. So they can revise after 10 years or 20 certain periods. Right? Then mission is nothing but the steps taken to reach the vision is called as vision. And program educational objectives. So this is also one of the important term. This is nothing but how we are preparing the students after graduating 4 or 5 years, how they can design the career, right? So that is the this statement: program educational objectives will give in this context. Next one, program outcomes. So this is the statement that describes the student, what the students graduating from engineering programs should be able to do at the time of graduation. So whenever they are going out of the institution, so what are all the things they should possess? So that is called as program outcomes. So this is defined by NBA. So 12 program outcomes are given. Just a minute, I will. Yeah. This is the program outcomes defined by the NBA, 12 program outcomes. So the first 5 are related with disciplinary outcomes. So engineering
Sir.
knowledge, problem
No, sir.
analysis. So these are all the program outcomes. So that is defined by NBA. So here we have 5 disciplinary outcomes: engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design and development of solutions, conduct conduct investigations of complex problems, modern tool usage. And next, these 7 outcomes are professional outcomes: the engineer and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, and lifelong learning. So these are all the programs. So this is defined by NBA. So that is also one of the term we have to remember, are the graduates, those who are passing out from the institution. They should possess these program outcomes. And the next one, this program specific outcomes. So this is also important, but this is defined by the department. Actually, 2 or 3 program specific outcomes will be there. So this has to be, for example, if 2 colleges are there, so both the colleges are offering this EEE electrical engineering, but some college is having one college is having some industry, or it is surrounded by the electrical industries. Then they have to, their value of the course will be different. So based on that aspect, this program specific outcomes will be defined. So this is defined by the department. And last one is course outcomes. So these courses are considered as the subjects what we are teaching to the students. So each and every subject is having outcomes. So outcome in the sense, that is the statement that describes what the student should be able to do at the end of the course. After completing that particular course, so what are all the things student should possess, right? So that is called as course outcomes. Each and every course is having these outcomes, but since you are affiliated institution, so that is defined by the university, and it will be given in the curriculum. Generally, 5 to 6 course outcomes will be given for each course or subjects. And so these are all the common terms we should know before going to this COPO mapping. Next one here. Is cognitive, affective, psychomotor, spiritual. So in this, we are focusing this cognitive. So that is different area. So we need not focus much on this. And in this cognitive, so we have different, taxonomy. So that is remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So this is defined by the Bloom's taxonomy. So this will describe the evaluation process, or the questions if you want to set, or if you want to test the students. So by means of these action verbs, you have to set the question purpose. So that is this is Bloom's taxonomy. So we need not go in deep. And this knowledge categories, we have general categories: factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and metacognitive. And categories specific to engineering, this is fundamental design principles, criteria and specifications, practical constraints, and design instrumentalities. So these are all the knowledge categories. So this is defined by Vincenti taxonomy. Then this engineering programs, how engineering programs in India are required to attain program outcomes. So that we just now we have seen, identified by the National Board of Accreditation, and program specific outcomes. So that is identified by the university or the department offering the program. And POs and PSOs are to be attained through courses, projects, co-curricular and extracurricular activities in which the performance of the students is evaluated. So we have to attain these POs and PSOs through these courses, projects, curricular, co-curricular, all those things. We have to attain these POs and PSOs. Next one, courses. So courses are broadly classified into core courses and electives. Core courses are classified into engineering science and basic science, humanities, social science, management. So these are all the different types of courses that is offered to the students. And POs and PSOs are to be attained through core courses, project and activities in which all students participate, right? So here you have to remember one thing. So these core courses, project and activities in which all students should participate. For example, so these elective courses should not be considered for these POs and PSOs. And courses constitute the dominant part of any engineering program, right? And the significance of course outcomes, they are clear about what they should be able to do at the end of the course. Already we have seen. So what is course outcomes? They are clear about what they should be able to do at the end of the course. And the next one, assessment. So for reaching this, students should reach the course outcome. So this assessment is very, very important. Assessment is in alignment with what they are expected to do, right? So this assessment should be designed with the course outcomes. Next one, instructional activities. So that are designed and conducted to facilitate them to acquire and demonstrate what they are expected to do, right? So in this way, to reach the course outcome, so we have to design the instructional activities. And what are course outcomes? So this already we have seen. It is an effective ability, including attributes, skills, and knowledge to successfully carry out the identified activity. The most important aspect of a core CO is that it should be observable and measurable. That is very important, because if you are not observing the course outcome, for attaining this course outcome, so it should be observable and measurable. So this is very, very important. And the structure of a course outcome statement. So these are all the four components that should possess the course outcome should possess. One is action, knowledge, condition, and criteria. So this action, so that represents a cognitive, effective psychomotor activity the learner should perform. An action is indicated by an action verb, occasionally two representing the concerned cognitive process. So that action verb, so for this Bloom's taxonomy will helps. And knowledge represents the specific knowledge from any one or more of the 8 knowledge categories. So already we have seen this Vincenti taxonomy. So in that Vincenti taxonomy, so this knowledge categories to be indicated. And the condition, so this represents the process the learner is expected to follow, or the condition under which to perform the action, right? But this is optional. So some COs are not having this condition as well as this criteria. Criteria represent the parameters that characterize the acceptability levels of performing the action, right? So this is criteria. And some COs are having 2 action verbs. Sometimes it becomes equally important for a student to perform 2 cognitive process or sub-process on a given knowledge elements, right? So only in such cases 2 action verbs are used in CO statement. It is not artifact to combine 2 COs. So 2 COs should not be combined for this 2 action verbs. For example, so draw Bode plot for the given dynamic system and determine the gain and phase margins. So this is one CO. So in this case, so draw is one action verb, drawing and determining. So are equally important, and both processes are related to the same knowledge elements of both plots. So that here it is having 2 action verbs. And sample, so this in this sample, so this is the CO, calculate major and minor losses associated with fluid flow in piping networks. So in this CO action, so that is calculate, right? So this is coming under apply category. The knowledge is major and minor losses associated with fluid flow in piping networks. So this is knowledge. This is coming under conceptual and procedural categories, but there is no condition statement and there is no criteria statement. Then similarly, in the next sample, determine the dynamic unbalanced conditions of a given mechanical system of rigid bodies subjected to force and acceleration. Here, determine is the action verb, so here it is applied, and knowledge dynamic balanced conditions. So this is in the knowledge element, so that is coming under conceptual and procedural. And condition, given mechanical system of rigid bodies subjected to force and acceleration. So this is condition component in this CO. And in the next sample, understand the effect of all the parameters in voltage control oscillators through simulation using TINATI. Here, understand, so that is the action verb. Knowledge effect of all the parameters in voltage controlled oscillators. So this is knowledge component of this CO. So this is coming under conceptual. And condition, using simulation, simulation using TINATI, right? So this is the condition. And in the last one, determine the root of the given equation accurate to second decimal place using Newton-Raphson method. Here, action determined. So that is the action verb. So that is coming under apply category. Knowledge, root of the given equation. So here, conceptual and procedural. So that is the knowledge element in this CO. Then condition using Newton-Raphson method. So that is the condition. Criterion is accurate to second decimal place, right? So this is the criteria. So in this way, I have shown some samples. So each and every CO is having these four components. So then we have to locate, for example, we consider these four samples. So we have to map these things. Cognitive process, so those things are represented here, and here knowledge categories are mentioned. Here, for example, S3, so that is coming under understand and this conceptual. So S1, it is having two categories of knowledge, conceptual, procedural, and this is coming under apply category. Then S2 also like that. Then S4 also, right? So in this way, we have to locate the CO in revised Bloom's-Vincenti taxonomy table, right? And then number of COs per course. So COs are concerned, generally we may see 5 or 6 COs in each course. Too small number of COs do not capture the course in sufficient details and may not serve instruction design that well. If it is 1 or 2, then it cannot fulfill the entire requirement of that course. So for that, too small, there is no standard definition, but too small COs do not capture the course in sufficient details. And too many COs make all the process related to assessment design and the computation of attainment of CO messy and demanding. See, if we are preparing more COs, then it is a complicated process of this attainment and computation of attainment and assessment design, right? So balancing these two, we have to design the COs. And generally this periods, as far as yourself is concerned, you are coming under affiliated, so these things will be given by the university. And a number of COs, of course, carrying different number of credits and can be suitably adjusted. Okay. Then next one, attainment of course outcome is measured through summative assessment. Even formative assessment also we can do, and it should be possible to determine attainment of CO through normally followed assessment mechanism without needing additional instruments. And units, it is the practice of many universities to present syllabus of a course as a set of units to facilitate equal attention to all the section of the syllabus. So for that, so for each unit, one COs will be given. There need not be one-to-one correspondence between units of a course and COs. It is not necessary to do like that. And even sometimes more than one CO may be correspond to one unit, and one CO correspond to topics from more than one unit. Right? Even 2 units can have one CO, and one unit may have 2 or 3 COs. So that depends on the course instructor and how they are designing the course and how they are writing the course outcome. And next one, do's and don'ts. Use only one action verb. Do not use words including like such as, different, various, etc. with respect to knowledge elements. Enumerate all the relevant knowledge elements. Then put it in effort to make the CO statement as detailed as possible and measurable. So that is very important. If it is not measurable, it is too difficult to attain the course CO. And do not make it either too abstract or too specific. So that has to be balanced. And these are all the checklist. So all those things we already discussed. Does the CO begin with an action verb, and is the CO stated in terms of students' performance rather than teacher performance or course content to be covered? Is the CO stated as learning product rather than as a learning process? Is the CO stated proper level of generality and relatively independent of other COs? Is the CO attainable in the given context, students' background, pre-request, competencies, facilities, time available, and so on, right? So in this case, I will show some samples. So this is one of the CO. Student will execute mini project. Here, if you are observing this CO, so instructional activities are designed to facilitate the attainment of COs by learners, but themselves are not COs. Here, so there is no action verb, right? So this is not acceptable. The CO is not in the acceptable level. And the next one, have the concepts of compensators and controllers, P, PD, PA, and PID. So here, COs are competencies for behaviors that can be demonstrated, not descriptions of internal changes in the students, right? And the next one, optimal generator scheduling for thermal power plants by using software package in the lab. So here there is no action verb, here no way of assessing and no way of determining attainment level. So syllabus part is written, so this is not acceptable. And we'll get the knowledge of protection schemes for generator, transformer, and induction motor. COs are competencies, as we said. This internal changes need not be described in the COs, and apply problem-solving techniques to find solutions to problems. So here this is too general, no clear way of assessing. And here study variety of advanced abstract data type and data structures and their implementations. So here activity that student engages in the during course, and not what he or she becomes capable of demonstrating at the end of the course. The word variety is not to be used, right? So these are all the clarities required. And know the stress and strain relation for a body subjected to loading within the elastic limit. So this is also internal change. There is no action. And students will be able to learn the structure, properties, and applications of modern metallic materials, smart materials, non-metallic materials, and advanced structural ceramics. So here there is no action verb, there is no how to access this CO. All those things are not there. And the students will be aware of baseband signal concepts and different equalizers. So this is also internal change, right? And get complete knowledge of regarding adaptive systems. So not an action that can be demonstrated. It is also internal change. So these are all the COs. We have to focus on the COs. And next we will see how the tagging the course outcomes. Here, tagging course outcomes with classroom sessions. Okay, here each CO is having how many classroom sessions. Many universities describe the syllabi of their courses in terms of 5, 6 or more units. All units are associated with same number of classroom sessions. If one CO is associated with one unit, all COs are required to have the same number of classroom sessions. Autonomous institutions are not required to follow the unit structure and may have the number of COs as decided by the course content and the teacher. Different COs may have different number of classroom sessions. So as I already stated, so there is no standard definition, and it is not mean that one unit must have one CO. It is not like that. So these are all the things we have to consider while writing the CO. And as stated earlier, CO statements start with the action verb from one or more, one of the cognitive levels. The action verb enables you to tag a CO with the cognitive level. Use acronyms like remember, R remember, U understand, AP apply, AN analyze, E evaluate, and C create. Occasionally, a CO may have two action verbs, then it is tagged by two cognitive levels. So this also already we have seen. And as there are no sharp demarcation lines between some cognitive levels, there is a possibility of one action verb representing two different cognitive levels. One needs to use judgment in such cases, right? So if you are having some action verb, if you are seeing Bloom's taxonomy, the same action verb will be there in different categories. Remember or analyze. Some action verbs will be present in all the categories. So under such condition, the observer or the teacher or the instructor should make a judgment based on the context. And tagging COs with knowledge categories. One CO statement includes knowledge categories. Already we have seen in the CO structure. Then we not go in deep. Majority of the courses as they are offered at present, particularly in non-autonomous institutions, generally do not address strongly any PO other than PO1, right? So it is understood that we have 12 POs, but the content, I mean courses, not representing all the POs. It is possible that PO2, 3, 4, 5 are addressed slightly by some courses. Hardly any course address complex engineering problems. And there may be some specific courses that address PO 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are all the professional outcomes. So, so in non-autonomous institution, the institution is not having to modify these courses, but they can additionally add along with the curriculum. So to reach these POs. And projects can be potentially address many POs, but the PO addressed must get reflected in the rubrics used to evaluate the project. So if you want to evaluate the project, you have to design some rubrics. So based on that, this project should be assessed, and that may address many POs. And tagging a CO with any PO requires that the assessment includes items related to the identified PO, right? And even a CO of a course has the potential to address multiple POs. It may be difficult to conduct necessary instruction and assessment to effectively address such POs within the available time and resources, right? So this point also to be considered. Then assessment items related to several POs cannot be easily designed. So that is one of the major complications. And even if designed, cannot be used easily in certain centrally conducted and evaluated examinations. If it is a university or autonomous, they can design their way of assessing the COs, but in a common affiliated institutions, they cannot design their own assessments. So that is the thing. And a department can arrange for some activities outside the curriculum. So that I already told you, you can add along with the curriculum to address some POs. However, the scope and the distribution of these activities need to be carefully planned by the department. And tagging COs with PSOs. If the PSOs are written well, there should not be any ambiguity regarding the PSOs addressed by the course under consideration, because This is this program specific outcomes are written by the department. So if it is well written, so that may because it is having 2 or 3 PSOs, so the most of the courses will address these PSOs. All COs of a course typically address the same PSOs. And this is the sample kinematics of machines. So this is COs written for this subject. So credit 3 hours theory, 1 tutorial, 1 practical hour. Here we have 7 COs. So it will be written like this. Here POs and PSOs. So what are all the POs this CO should cover? So it address PO1 and PSO1. Similarly, this is cognition. This Bloom's taxonomy. So that is you understanding level, and this is knowledge level, factual knowledge, and classroom sessions 3 and tutorial 1. So for each CO, you have to find out how many class sessions and tutorial hours, even practical hours also required to reach this CO. Some COs may be, reached through the practical sessions. So that may be written, right? Class sessions, tutorial, as well as practical. Similarly, you can see all these COs. So all these things, and the total hours 12 and 38 class sessions and 12 tutorial. And similarly for sample 2, so this is analog circuit and systems. So this is 3 theory hours, and there is no tutorial hours, 1 practical hours, right? So here we have 6 COs, and it will be written PO, PSO, and this Bloom's taxonomy, which category it is coming, knowledge category, and this classroom sessions here, laboratory sessions. And so in this way, we have to tag CO with this PSOs and this one knowledge level, classroom sessions, lab sessions. Next one, attainment of course outcomes. See, CO attainment and quality loop. So we are having a course. So that is defined in terms of course outcomes. Just now we have discussed how the course outcomes will be written and what are all the various components of this course outcome. So that will be written. This course is described by means of this course outcome. So at the end of the course, all the students should reach these course outcomes. And these course outcomes are assessed by means of this assessment pattern that is designed by the instructor or a teacher handling that particular course, and determines the assessment instruments for assessing assessment pattern, what are all the instruments required. So all those things, and next determines student CO attainment. So based on this process, so we can find student CO attainment, right? And this CO attainment determines PO PSO attainment through PO PSO matrix. Just now we discussed the PO PSO. So after the attainment of CO, so we can find out how the CO are used to help to reach this PO and PSO attainment. If this is not made, right, CO attainment is there is a gap in this CO attainment. It has a course outcome target. So we have to have course outcome target. Let us see how we can fix this target. And this course outcome target is not reached after the attainment of COs. Then there is a gap between the student's attainment and course outcome target. So that is found as CO attainment gap. So that leads to plan for closing the CO gaps or enhancement. For example, if your target is some minimum, minimum value, but the student CO reached higher value, hence the targets, or otherwise there is a gap in this. Just a minute. சார் நான் ஒரு கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கேன் சார். சார் நான் கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கேன் சார், ஒரு half an hour கழிச்சு கூப்பிடுறேன் சார். ஓகேங்க சார். Plan for closing the CO gaps. So here, if it is less, then what we have to do? So how we can increase this CO attainment? So that we have to plan for by giving some additional subjects or otherwise, but you can give some extra classes. So by means of that, so we can complete this. Close this gap, right? So this is the general. Process related with this course attainment. So for this, we have considered the sample 2, what we have seen already, analog circuits and systems, right? So this we have considered, and setting CO attainment targets. So just now we have seen this target, course outcome target, how we can set this target. So there can be several methods, but it is not mean that this method is correct and this method is wrong. It is not like that. So there are several methods, but in an institution, so all should follow in the uniform way. So that is the thing we have to remember. And first method, same target is identified for all the COs of a course, right? For example, if the target can be the class average marks, so class average is 60, so you can fix this 60 marks for all the COs. So this is one type. And another one, targets are the same for all COs and are set in terms of performance levels of different groups of students. And while this method classifies the students into different categories, it does not provide any specific close to plans for improvement of the quality of learning. So for example, here the students are having less than 50, then their target is 10. Then 50 to 65, their target is 40. And this 65 to 80, it is 40. And greater than 80, then 10. So in this way, so we can fix for different category. And the third method is targets are set for each CO of a course and for different groups of students separately, right? So for each CO, so that is common for all COs, the first two methods. Here, CO wise, for example, CO1, so for different group of students, we are fixing the target. So this category 10, and 40, 40 and 10. So in this way, we are fixing each and every CO. So we are fixing the targets, right? So this is another method. And the fourth method, targets are set for each CO of a course separately, right? For example, CO1, so total 70. So this is class average. And or otherwise, for CO1 to all students, they have to reach 70, right? It does not directly indicate the distribution of performance among the students. However, it has the advantage of finding out the difficulty of specific COs, right? You see here, so here all these each and every COs are given different targets. And in this example, so targets are quantized into certain levels, 3 being the most common number of levels. Level 3, class of 70. So class average is more than 70. So they should reach level 3, or otherwise level 2, so 50 to 70. So they have to attain this level 2, and less than or equal to 50. So they have to reach level 1. But the ultimate aim is, so we have to reach this level 3, right? So these are all the different types of different methods to set the course outcome targets, right? Then attainment, right? So attainment of CO can be measured directly and indirectly. So there are two methods, direct method and indirect attainment. Direct attainment of COs can be determined from the performance of the students in all the relevant assessment instruments. So internal assessments and some other assignment or projects or presentations, seminars. So many things are there. So based on that, this direct attainment is assessed. And indirect attainment of COs, which is optional as per NBA, can be determined from the course exit survey. So, or we can make some survey from the students and we can get this internal attainment. And our exit survey form should permit receiving feedback from the students on all the COs. And the computation of indirect attainment of COs is based on the perception of students. Hence, the percentage weightage to indirect attainment can be kept at a low value, say 10%. Because so this is the opinion of the students, right? So that is their perception. They may give the actual value based on individual perceptions, so that its weightage is given 10% indirect attainment. And direct attainment of COs is determined from the students in continuous internal evaluation, so that is CAE, and the semester end examination, end semester examination. The proportional weightage of CAE and SAE will be as per the academic regulation in force. And the regulations, the weightage will be given for these two categories. There is considerable variation in these regulations, because some places you can find 80-20, some places you can find 25-75, some cases 30-70, 40-60, 50-50, things based on the academic regulations which are given. And the next, direct attainment of a specific CO is determined from the performance of the students to all the assessment items related to that particular CO, right? So based on CO, the assessment item should be designed and it should be assessed. Hence, every assessment item needs to be tagged with relevant CO. So that means if you are doing any assessment, so that has to be related with any CO in that course. So that is very important. Also, we need data about performance of students assessment item wise. And direct CO attainment from CIE, that is continuous internal evaluation. So we need not go for tier 1 institutions, is conducted, evaluated by the department itself in both tier 1 and tier 2 institutes. Thus, both tier 1 and tier 2 institutions have access to question-wise marks in all assessment instruments. Because the internal assessments are done by the department, so you can have, if you are having 10 questions in part A and 4 questions in part B, so you should know if you are taking one student, so based on the questions you can have, so the marks scored by the students, you can find out what is the CO attainment. That is possible in both the cases. When questions are tagged with relevant COs, the department has to assess the performance students with that. This is the thing I told, and hence computing the direct attainment of COs from CAE is straightforward for both tier 1 and tier 2 institutions. There is no issues in this. And the semester end examination is conducted and evaluated by the department itself in case of tier 1 institutions. They can find out the same thing what they are doing in the internal. They can find out the questions, but question wise marks when tagged with relevant COs. Okay. So tier 1 institutions, even end semester examination also, so they can do the same way how they are assessed through internal assessments. And however, this semester end examination is conducted and evaluated by the university for tier 2 institutions. So you are not able to find out for each question what is the mark scored by the students and how you can relate those things with the corresponding CO. So that is the thing here. So only total marks will be given, and particularly this grade will be given in some cases. So no means of computing the direct attainment of individual COs from SEE. So at the same time, we cannot ignore the performance of the semester end examination, right? So we have to find out some means of assessing it. So the only possible solution, though not satisfactory, is to treat the average marks in SEE as the common attainment of all COs, right? So whatever the average marks, so that can be scored for all COs in semester end examination. So that is the possible thing tier 2 institutions can do. But even though it is not satisfactory, so that is the method we have to follow. And in this way, let us have a plan about this CAE. Tier 1 is not required. We will go to tier 2. Yes. So this is the sample assessment plan for CAE. For example, we have considered that analog circuit systems and circuits. So here we have 6 COs. So generally one assignment and 2 tests. So each assignment is having 5 marks and each test is having 10 marks. Then based on the CO, so we are getting this assessment. Marks and the class average in CAE. So here CO and all the COs are written, right? Assignment. So what is the average of class average of that particular CO? So that has been given here. And T1, T2, then you can find out average. That is what is the class average? CAE class average you can find. And the next one, computation of CO direct attainment for tier 2 college. So that particular course is 0.25 into attainment of the CO in CAE. So that because 25 marks weightage for this, so that 0.25 into attainment of CO percentage in CAE. Plus 0.75. So this is end semester examination, 0.75 into class average. So here, so this is all the COs are written here. So this is internal assessment, and this is semester end assessment, because average has been taken for all COs. So that there is no variation in this for tier 2 institute. So all the COs are having the same percentage in semester end examination, right? So direct attainment, CO attainment. So if you are adding giving
Professor,
yes,
can you please again repeat the same thing? Computation of course outcome, direct attainment.
This slide, no?
Previous slide also, from the previous slide.
This one?
Average, that's what. Class average in CAE.
Class average. So, this one we have to, for example, 5 marks, right? So, you have, for this CO is concerned, you have to find out for all the students. So, what is the average? Similarly, for test 2, so what is the attainment of CO1? In, for example, if you want to get, you have 2 questions in the question paper, right? So, for example, second question represents CO1. So you have to find out the marks scored by all the students in that particular question, right? So then all the how many students are written that answer for that question, and you have to take the average. For example, 5 students are written, you have to add all the marks and you have to take average. So similarly, you have to take all those things. But here, some questions may be left by choice. Even in big questions, they may leave choice, so that you cannot get all those things, right? So similarly, you have to find out for in assignments as well as this test 1, test 2, for each and every CO of all students scored in that particular questions related with CO1, right? So that you have to find out, and you have to take the average, right? So that thing you have to find out.
Sir, this class average can be done for all the courses, no, sir? All courses தான பண்ணனும்.
ஆமா.
So there நிறைய work இருக்கு.
All the courses.
Okay.
Yes. And here attainment of this one, then we have to take this since it is 75, 85. So 0.25 attainment in CAE and 0.75 into class average. So then you have to write this CAE, then the semester end examination. This is same for all the COs, and you have to give the weightage accordingly, and you have to find out the direct CO attainment, right? So this is the way of doing this computation of CO direct attainment, and computation of total attainment of COs in this one here. Direct attainment is this much. Already I told you indirect attainment are assessed through some surveys. So that is given minimum weightage, right? So here 10% weightage should be given, so that here it is 0.1 and this direct attainment is having 0.9. So this will be considered for 90% and this will be considered for 10%. Right. So then you have to list out if any I mean, for example, this CO1 is assessed through this indirect attainment, so that has to be that percentage is written here, and see then you have to put it in the formula and you have to find out what is the total CO attainment, right?
Professor?
Yes, Professor.
Again, sorry to disturb you, Professor.
No issues. Tell me.
The thing is, if the students, there is a elective of academic flexibility. Electives are there, no? Electives இருக்கிறப்ப எப்படி ப்ரொஃபசர் இது காமனா கிளாஸ் ஆவரேஜ் போட முடியாது
இல்ல first itself I told you. So and this assessment, I mean particularly this thing to be made, the courses which all the students should be taken.
Okay, bro.
Elective should not be considered for this attainment. Only if you are assessing anything, all the students should do that. Then only that will be considered. So electives will not be considered for this attainment.
Thank you, bro.
Okay, then CO attainment gap. Then after attaining this, we have to find out this gap. CO1, CO target. So it is fixed by us in the fourth category, and the total CO attainment. So this one, what we attain. Then there is a gap. You see, so this target is 60, but the attainment is 63. So that minus 3. That means extra. We increase already. We reached beyond this target. Similarly, for all COs, we have to write and find out the gap. So what is the gap? Then after that, you have to write. If the target is not attained, for example, you take this. So this is not attained. All COs except CO1. So all the COs are not attained. So the improvements must be planned to increase the attainment in the next time. So next time, I already told you, you can give some. So you have to find out what is the CO and what is its context. So based on that, you have to give some plan for improving the CO. CO attainment in the next time. If it is not reached the target, if it is exceeded, so you consider this first CO. So it is exceeded. So the attainment target may be increased. So instead of 60, so next time you can fix 65, right? Or otherwise 70 you can fix. So this is the thing. After finding the attainment, we have to write this. We have to close the loop, right? So closing the quality loop. So here you see we have taken that course, analog systems and circuits. So here we have 6 course outcomes, and the target it is fixed, and attainment, right? So the action proposed to bridge the gap. So here there is no need. Here modification target. So increase to target to 65, right? And here CO2. You say what is CO2? CO2, you see, model 1-port devices including RLC and diodes, 2-port networks, and active devices including amplifiers, op-amps, comparators, multipliers. So based on this context, you can write, explain in detail the need of macro modeling and the models of BJTs and FETs. Present the parameters of presently available commercial devices. Right, so these are all the actions proposed for the next time to improve the CO attainment. And similarly for third, present 3 more simulations of frequency dependence of transient behavior. So similarly, you have to write here 70. Here also, sorry, While explaining, I said the only one CO1 is exceeded. Here CO4 is also exceeded. So here increased to 75, right? So in this way, so we have to close the quality loop, right? So these are all the CO attainment, and next one, attainment of POs and PSOs. And POs and PSOs are addressed through core courses, projects, seminars, presentations, internship, co-curricular, extracurricular activities, and for any activity to be considered for computing the attainment of POs and PSOs. Or here, again, it is mentioned all students of a program are required to participate in that activity. So whatever the activity or whatever the assessment or assessment instrument you have designed, so in that all students of a program are required to participate in that activity. Otherwise, it will not be considered for this attainment. So the same thing, elective courses should not be considered because all the students will not take that elective. And for activities to be included for computing attainment, the related students' performance should be measurable, right? So if you are designing any assessment plan or activity, so that should be measurable one. So we have to be careful while designing. And the elective play an important role in providing depth and contribute to the attainment of POs and PSOs. However, they are not considered for computing the attainments of POs, PSOs, as all students may not be crediting them. But in some other means, even though it is these electives are not considered for this attainment, but that will be reflected in some other means in this attaining these POs and PSOs. And this is the PO PSO attainment quality loop. You see here PO PSO attainment for the program through core courses, projects, presentations, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Then PO here targets are set for this PO PSO targets. Then there is a finding the gap between this PO and PSO leads to plan for closing the PO PSO gaps or otherwise enhancement of PO PSO targets. So the same way what we have discussed for COs. And COs, POs and PSOs. POs and PSOs are attained mainly through core courses. Each course outcome addresses a subset of POs and PSOs to varying levels. So here, so if it is a CO, we can have different instruments because that is the content of the syllabus. Based on that, we can design the assessment. But here we cannot exactly measure. So for that, we can have some levels of attainment that is called as strength 1 or 2 or 3. So 1 means minimum, 3 means maximum, and average. So something we have to give weightage like this. Sometimes we may have priori determined the POs and PSOs of a course should address, and see already we have written this POs are already defined by NBA and PSOs are written already, so that COs have to be written to meet the identified. So since it is known already, the COs can be written in align with these POs and PSOs. And the strength of CO, PO, PSO mapping. Attainment of PO, PSO depends on both on the attainment levels of associated COs and the strength to which it is mapped, right? And it is necessary to determine the level mapping strength at which the particular PO, PSO is addressed by the course. So strength mapping is defined at 3 levels. So if it is low, we are giving it as 1. If it is medium, 2. And it is strong 3. Several methods can be worked to determine the strength of PO, PSO, but implementing them across a few hundred courses can become burden. So we can have so many methods. There is no standard format that you have to give the strength like this, but we can design our own format. So if you are making more depth, then it is too difficult to implementing all those things in because every student is having 6 subjects for semester, and 8 into 48. I mean 8 into 6, 48. Right. So that much subject, it is too difficult. The process of becoming becomes complicated. And a sample method. So one sample method is given. A sample method is to relate the level of mapping to a PO with the number of hours devoted to the COs which addresses that PO. So, for example, how this PO weightage is given now. So, how many hours are devoted for the COs? So, for example, if one CO addresses PO, so how many hours are allotted for this CO? So, based on that, its strength will be determined, right? So, if greater than 40% of classroom sessions, tutorials, lab hours address a particular PO, it is considered that the PO is addressed at level 3, right? If 25% to 40% of classroom sessions, tutorials, lab hours address a particular PO, it is considered that the PO is addressed at level 2. And if 5 to 25% of classroom sessions, tutorials, lab hours address a particular PO, it is considered that the PO is addressed at level 1. If less than 5% of classroom sessions and tutorials, then it is considered that the PO is not addressed. So this is the simple method, and most of the places it is followed. So in this, it will be easy to find out the strength, right? Then again, we have taken the same course, analog circuits and systems. And here POs, PSOs are addressed by COs. For example, this is PO1. We have 12 POs, but it is not meant that one CO will not address. For example, you are having 6 COs in a course, so all the COs will not address the 12 POs, right? So whatever, for example, you consider this course, PO1 is addressed by CO1 and CO3, right? So total number of sessions 3 plus 8. You see here, CO1 is 3 and CO3 is, so this 4 plus 4, 8. So that is written 3 plus 8, 11. And CO2, similarly for all POs, we have to write PO2. It is addressed by CO2. So that is provided by, so here 9 plus 4, 13 hours. So all the things written like this. Then PSO1. You see, this is program specific outcomes. So in this program specific outcomes, so this all the COs are addressing this. I already told you while explaining these PSOs, because PSOs are written by the department by considering all these parameters, so that most of the COs are addressing these PSOs, right? So here PSO1 is addressed by all these COs. Then all those things are taken. You see here the number of hours 68. So if you are saying this table, PO1 is 11 hours, PO2 13. Similarly for all POs and PSOs. Now number of sessions devoted, PO1, so 11 of 68. Total is 40 plus 28, 68 hours. So 68 divided by 11. So 11 of 68, that is 16%, right? If it is 16%, right? So that is coming under this category 5 to 25. So it is under level 1. So mapping strength 1. And this is 19, then mapping strength 1. Similarly, we have to calculate for all the POs, and we have to find out the mapping strength. So what is the mapping strength of each POs and PSOs, right? And the next one, course PO PSO mapping. So here we have this is the course analog circuits and systems. So here we have 12 POs and 2 PSOs. So this mapping strength, so whatever the things we are having in here, so that has to be written. So for PO1, so the mapping strength is 1, PO2 1. Similarly for all the POs and the PSOs. PSO2 is 0, PSO1 is 3. So that is the strength, right? So this is PO PSO mapping. And the alternative method of CO PO PSO mapping. So nowadays the softwares are available, right? The presentation of even for this what is this uploading SCR also through softwares. So by means of that, it automatically strengthens and it calculates and computing the mapping strength. And it is possible to compute mapping strength as discussed already and enter the mapping values, right? So these are all. Alternatively, teacher can estimate the mapping strengths between specific COs and POs, PSOs based on her subjective perception, taking into account the number of classroom sessions as well as the nature of course content. Such estimated values can be entered into the system. So the teacher or the instructor of the course, so based on their perception and their observation in the class and the content, so based on that, they can give some weightage. So that is also considered that it has been entered. And here CO1. So these are all the things. I mean PO1. I mean it reflects PO1, PO10, and PSO1. Similarly for all the COs. So the mapping strengths are given. Then average will be taken. So here, for example, PO1, 1, 3. So here totally 4. So here 2 COs are there, 2. So similarly, we have to take the average, but here only the CO, I mean the POs reflected by these COs are shown here. Other POs are not shown. For example, you see PSO2 that is not shown, and PO 6, 7, 8. So those things are not shown, right? Then mapping strength, and this is 2, 2, 2.3. So in this way, we can calculate mapping strengths. Mapping strength of 6, 7, PO 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and PSO2 are equal to 0 in this course. So, this in this way we have to calculate the strength. And the PO PSO attainment, right? Attainment of PO PSO. So that is average of attainments to relevant CO into scale factor. So here the scale factor is actual mapping strength or maximum possible mapping strength. So that is actual mapping strength divided by 3. Scale factor is, because maximum possible mapping strength, so our maximum strength is 3. 1, 2, 3 we have considered. So maximum possible mapping strength is 3. So here actual mapping strength. So that we, by means of this, actual mapping strength here, you see here. So this is the actual mapping strength and divided by 3. So that will give you this scale factor. Then average attainment of relevant CO. So relevant CO. So this relevant CO. Yes. Just a minute. Attainment of PO PSO. Average attainment of relevant COs into scale factor. For example, this PO average attainment of relevant CO, you see here. Here you have to calculate in this way. The CO is concerned, you have to calculate in this way. In this row wise, you have to calculate and you have to find out. And example for the earlier model. So in that way, it has been calculated. CO1 total 63. CO2 67, CO3 67. So in this way it has been calculated, and PO already this has been calculated, right? So that is shown here. Here PO1 and CO1, CO3. PO1 is addressed by CO1 and CO3. Mapping strength is 1, and this formula we have to use average attainments. So here 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 is let's see, 61. 61, 63 is this 2 divided by 2. That is scale factor. Then we have to calculate. Similarly for CO2, right? So this is 1 by 3. Actual mapping strength is 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 into so this thing. So here 2 COs, so that we have to take the average divided by 2. So here 1, so that 1 by 3 into that values of that CO attainment. Here the strength is 3, so 3 by 3. Then 3 COs are here, so that reflects PO3. So that the average of these 3 will be taken and it is found, right? Similarly for other POs, here if you are taking PSO1, all the 6 COs, so the mapping strength is 3, so 3 by 3 into all the weight is it will be added and average is taken, so 6. So in this way, we have to find out PO and PSO attainment. And mapping strength and attainment of PO, PSO, this is the course and mapping strength and attainment, what we here attained here, so that should be reflected here, right? Direct attainment of POs and PSOs. Attainment of POs and PSOs are normalized to 1. Attainments are calculated for all core activities, including courses, seminars, projects. Performance in any co-curricular and extracurricular activity which is evaluated as per the declared rubrics is also treated as the course. Then the average attainments of PO and PSOs are computed. This is direct attainment. And similarly, we have to find out for all the courses, CO 101, and you have to write. So whatever the course you are having, so all those things should be listed, and it has to be written. Each course reached how much the attainment. So all those things to be listed, right? And the total attainment of POs and PSOs determine the indirect assessment based on all relevant surveys, that is graduate exit survey, alumni survey, employer survey. So through that, so we have to find out indirect attainments and combine this direct attainment with the indirect attainment. So already actually the here 0.8, 0.2 is given. Previously we have given 0.1 for indirect attainment. So based on our weightage defined, so we can give 0.8 for direct attainment and 0.2 for indirect attainment, right? And for example, one example is shown here. Direct attainment based on all relevant academic activities 0.25. Indirect attainment is 0.35. Combining them, the total PO 10, so that is 10. So this is related with communication, right? So for this batch of students, 0.8 into 0.25 here, 0.2 into 0.35. So this is the attainment, right? Repeat this calculation for all POs and PSOs. Okay. Then next, setting targets. I think with this we can complete. Setting the attainment targets with consideration. Among POs, probably only PO1 is addressed well. Not many POs, PO6 and PO12 are addressed because PO12 is lifelong learning, right? So that cannot be measured. So are addressed directly by most of the programs. There need not be any concern if the target for PO is quite low, right? All PSOs are generally addressed well. Thus, the targets can be reasonably high. For example, realistic targets of 0.6 and above are feasible. Absolute targets are less concerned than continual improvement. How much we are reaching is not important. Whether the target is gradually getting increased, so that is continual improvement is required. So that is the thing. This NBA or NAC, so all those things are expecting. And closing the quality loop at the program level for each PO and PSO, set the attainment target, determine the total attainment value, and close the quality loop. If attainment less than the target, then plan for improvement action. If the attainment greater than or equal the target, then increase the target realistically. So this is what we have done in the CO. And wide choice exists for improvement plans, right? So then here combined attainment, target, attainment gap. So here how this improvement will be, see for example, this is written for PO10, so that is communication. So combined attainment is 0.25, direct and indirect. Target is 0.35, the gap is 0.1. So these are all the improvement action plans. Similarly, you can, based on the PO, so you can write had an extra communication lab in the third semester as a value-added course, a value-added core course. Introduce a seminar starting from the third semester. Add in the fourth semester a 5-day workshop on communication skills, right? So these are all the things we have to write for the improvement action plan if there is a gap, right? And the conclusions determine the strength to which PO, PSO is addressed and computing the attainment or approximations at the best. We cannot say whatever the method we are following, so that is not the exact value. So that is based on the approximations only, right? And even if more precise computation of PO, PSO attainment is possible, the effort involved may not be worth. So if you are taking much more care to give this approximation as a close one, then you have to take a lot of efforts. So that is not required. And what is important is to follow one method across an institute, strive for continual improvement in attainment, and demonstrate the improvements with evidence. Right. So there are, I already told you, there is no specific method, but a uniform method. So that should be followed across the institute, and whatever the method you are following, so you have to find out the improvement in the different stages. So that is required, and you have to find out how this is improved. So all those things should be shown, right? So with this, we can conclude the session. Sir, Raju sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, nice session, sir. But I have some one or two clarifications. Shall I ask you, sir?
Yeah, definitely, sir.
With respect to affiliated institution, we don't bother about POs because already it is there in the syllabus and curriculum is there.
Yes, see, POs also, COs also there.
POs also there, but yes, we need how to write or how to prepare PSO.
PSO. So that I already told you, no?
Told, sir, but can you please again?
Yeah, definitely.
Now only came, that's why. Please.
Yeah, fine, sir. Actually, PSOs, for example, if two institutes are there, those two institutes are offering the same course, right? For example, this ECE course, two institutes are offering, but one institute, for example, you consider this. We say one institute is located in and around Tirupur. It is offering textile technology, right? So if the students, those who are coming out from that institute, is having more knowledge, and they can have a lot of opportunities around the institute, because textile, Tirupur is the textile city. So there they have, they can learning ability and the learning opportunities will be more, right? So based on that, the department has to describe 2 or 3 things related with that course. So that is called as program specific outcomes.
Okay.
So, and also all the COs are, since it is written like this, so most of the COs are reflected in this PSOs.
Okay, professor. Okay, professor. Thank you, professor.
So, is there any specific number of PSO should have, sir?
Sir, there is no standard definition, sir. Generally, PSOs are having 2 to 3, sir. So need not write more about it. So generally 2 or 3 is sufficient. So otherwise, this mapping, all those process will be much more complicated. So better 2, that is okay. See, if some departments are having more interest in this process, they can write 3.
Sir, in NBA, there is a term PEO, Program Educational Objective.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it related to PSO or something?
No. It is related with that first itself I told you, program. I think it is related with, it is the broad statement. Program educational objective is the broad statements that describe the career and professional accomplishments in 4 to 5 years after graduation that the program is preparing the graduates to achieve. So after 4 or 5 years, how the students coming out of the department will develop the career. So that is called as program objectives. So that can be measured after 4 or 5 years. Immediately you cannot measure it.
Okay.
So
Professor, will
yes,
time ஆயிடுச்சு professor. One more question, professor. Will coming for the POCO attainment, we spoke about only the direct assessment. Course,
yes.
We used to collect one course delivery course. What is called course exit survey? Course exit survey. Indirect assessment.
Yes.
Shall we do it for affiliated institution? Is it?
Yeah, that is common.
Whether we can follow it?
No. That is common for all the institute. That survey will be taken at the end of the course from each student. That survey can be made. So based on that, we can find since it is a perception, only less weightage is given.
Okay, professor.
So course exit survey, alumni survey you can take, and this industry people.
Alumni survey we can show it for the PO attainment.
Yes.
But for course PO attainment, we have to show only the direct. We can get a course exit survey. That is.
Yes, as far as CO attainment is concerned, this course exit survey. So that will reflect. Then PO, PSO, you can consider all the surveys.
Okay. Excellent presentation, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Anything you learned today, especially on the elective and the COP, நான் இன்னைக்கு தான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டேன் ரியலி. இந்த CO அங்க வராதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இவன் நம்மள ஒண்ணா வர்க் பண்ணிருந்தா கூட எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு தான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டேன் அந்த விஷயத்தை. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you.
Kumaran sir, just to give vote of thanks.
Okay.
Kumaran sir, yes.
So thank you very much because we came to know that there are the PO and the PSO, then these the attainments. Because I have one more question, sir. Actually, the direct attainment, indirect attainment, is it 80-20? Can we make it like 30-70 or something related to course, sir? Because we have project and mini project. Can we make it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I already told you, sir. Actually, if you are giving more weightage for indirect attainment, then what is the problem? So you may get less attainment. So for that only, so these indirect assessments are given less weightage, and these direct assessments are given more weightage. So there is no standard procedure. You have to keep like this. You have to keep like this. There is no such procedure. But it should be followed. Overall, across the institute, all the departments should follow the same procedure, whatever the thing decided.
Okay. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of our college. Thank you for your wonderful support, and we will keep disturbing you, sir. We need your support for our process.
It's not disturbing, sir. என்ன சொல்றது, இந்த கல்வி செல்வம் தான் நீங்க கொடுக்க வளர்ந்துகிட்டே இருக்கக்கூடிய.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay.
So that will not be considered as a disturbance, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, I'm leaving, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Thank
you for your patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much. இந்த COP அட்டைன்மெண்ட் வந்து நம்ம எல்லா கோர்ஸுக்கும் பண்ணுங்க. இது ஒரு நாள்